So you have Giannis on the road, taking on the 76ers. He's the most expensive player on the slate at 11-4. That's $900 more than Paul George. Also, no Embiid, no Kawhi this evening. So do you have to pick Giannis for your DFS lineups, or can you roll off of him to someone else, Nick?
For me, it's Giannis or it's Paul George. Like you said, we have a small slate, smaller than normal, even for a Tuesday. I think the NBA is kind of taking the night off and letting college basketball have the spotlight here. So you don't have a ton of elite options. I'm definitely okay paying for Giannis at 11-4. Bucks have obviously struggled on offense over these last few games. They've scored under 100 points in 4 of their last 5. Not something we're used to seeing from Milwaukee. But, of course, they've had a ton of key pieces out. They really haven't had anywhere near their full rotation for any game this season. I think they're going to be fine long term, but nonetheless, despite some of the struggles, Giannis has still been putting up huge numbers. He had 67 DraftKings points against Washington on Sunday. That was a game that wasn't particularly close, didn't really matter. So even if you're a little bit worried about a shorthanded Sixers team making this game closer than it should be, or Milwaukee continuing to struggle, the nice thing is it hasn't really affected Giannis's DFS production all that much so far.
Garion, do you have to have Giannis in your lineup tonight?
I would say that the tough thing about making it definitive is because we have such a small slate, there's not a ton of obvious value spots. So if you stick Giannis in there, you're sort of limiting what you can do elsewhere, because the value we do have, namely anyone playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, it's going to be pretty chalky. People understand that there's about 7 guys who can play for the Sixers tonight. They're on the second night of a back-to-back. But again, if you can afford Giannis, by all means, put Giannis into a lineup. He's fantastic. He's averaging 1.72 DraftKings points per minute played so far this season. And I think, if this were last year, we'd be talking about how this might be a spot to avoid Giannis because, there's obvious blowout potential here with the Bucks going up against a 76er squad that is unrecognizable. However, we can't really take anything for granted with the Bucks right now. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games. They've got a negative net rating for the season as a whole. They're going through their own COVID situation with Chris Middleton. So, yeah, I think Giannis is probably going to play 35, 36 minutes in this game. And so far this season, he's averaging 65 DraftKings points in the 4 games he's played, over 34 and a half minutes. So he's amazing. If you can afford him, do it.